a long week. I think it's actually been 2 weeks now. Today's the day after Labor Day. The week before that I had a 5-day week that has now carried into 7 and starting the next 5. We worked through Labor Day weekend and here it is Tuesday and I'm over it. Gotta run Tiny today. Junkyard had to take his wife to the doctor. I don't guess somebody else come in to run Tiny. I don't know. I was just asked if I'd run Tiny and the den together, so. Hope we're not planning on getting much done today because there's not much that gets done. This daggone truck. There's not much that gets done whenever the guy that's processing the wood has to haul the wood and then go back to processing wood and go back to hauling wood. You don't get nothing done. But at least we're moving forward in the process. But we ain't gonna set no records today. Almost got this job done. It's been a big job. Big, wet, aggravating job. I should, fingers crossed, should be able to get everything done with the dent today. I might end up having to help Big Daddy do some dirt work tomorrow, but it won't be much. Hopefully we get to start moving the equipment tomorrow. I think that'll do for my first load. Not the first time I've drove Tiny, but I've only got one more decent load. Got that veneer white oak I gotta cut up. I got a couple over here that's gonna go on the pile. And I got one on the other side of the truck that fell off. Look here, it hit the ground and split. I thought, see, it's hard to see them on the other side because I'm not high enough. But I thought I could lay it up there and it'd stick on the top of the stakes up there, but it didn't. It just rode right on off. I could have stuck it. No, I couldn't. It's got that knot up there is what helped it roll over. That's all you're gonna put on it. But I could have put more on there. I done it yesterday at the junkyard, except the pieces that was on the bottom stuck out about another 8 to 10 feet. And then I actually put double segment logs like that. That's what I'm calling logs. This is trees. But I put double segment logs like that there. That's probably a 14 footer. So I would have had the 14 up front and then like a 10 or a 12 back here. And then the higher I got, I stuck my 8s on top. But my God, what a load. We're not going all the way up there on that hill. That's where we was before. Up there. But when we get down here to about the second telephone pole, we're going to make a left and go up another pretty steep hill. If Junkyard didn't let off of it, it probably would have turned itself over. Because the front end started coming up on Tiny. Whenever the front end comes up, it ain't like a skidder where you can just keep on riding wheelie. It articulates right here. Like, what is that, the 604 Tiger Cats or the 518 cable skidders, the cats? They articulate right here. So what happens is when it torques up, it goes up to ride a wheelie and it just flops the cab over. It started to do that yesterday and Junkyard knew it was going to do it, so he let loose of it. And I didn't think we was going to make it up the hill. Oh, but Junkyard's expertise driving, we made her up the hill. I was sitting back here, pinching that seat with my butthole. I was a little concerned. Well, this morning I started out loading Tiny with logs, and here it is dinner time. Just changed my head over to the bucket. I probably should have got that on video. I've had a couple people ask me how hard it is to change that over. It's really not that hard. The hardest thing I found changing it over, of course, once you figure out how to uncouple everything right here, that's just a matter of flipping a switch and pulling of a lever, but I didn't know the combination to it. The hardest thing I figured out is hooking that case drain up. I always get a hydraulic bath whenever I unhook it and rehook it. But other than that, it ain't too bad. Now, what I was saying the other day, as far as these knobs, this is a power line, so we gotta take pretty good care of this. But these knobs on this job has got a lot of loose sand on it. It ain't got our average This job here don't have our average everyday run of the type of soil. This has got sand on it. We're so close to the river, the Wabash in Ohio, that it's just sand. I mean, you got topsoil in places and you got very little clay in places, but for the most part it's just sand. So what Big Daddy's wanting to do is take some of this good topsoil dirt that they had actually stockpiled in windrows down here along the edge of this ditch to keep as a water barrier, to keep the water from getting all carried away and eroding everything. They just stockpiled topsoil. Good dirt, as you seen when I got out of Tiny. But we're gonna put this back on these knobs that whoever put this power company in here left behind. I guess thinking that maybe one day somebody will come in there and log this and put it back for us. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're putting the dirt in Tiny, gonna haul it up there, dump it where we was using Tiny as a skidder. Of course, we wasn't dragging, we was hauling, but still, it's got some places that needs some attention on it to hold the sand, and then we are gonna spread grass seed on top of this new topsoil so that the erosion is minor. This is another part of what I love doing. I love doing finish work, especially with Big Daddy. He's real particular in how he wants his finish work. He's anal on a good job with finish work. So I like being around people that's strict with what they want to do. You get somebody that just wants to half-ass it, it's fun for a little bit being able to half-ass stuff, but whenever it turns around and bites you, it ain't so fun then. And I've been on both ends of it. I've been on the half-ass end, and now I'm on a good crew that puts out a lot of effort in what they do to succeed. And that's what I love about what I do. Get this dirt on here. He told me not to put a big load because he wants to make sure this is what he wants to do, instead of putting a massive load on there and then be like, well, we got too much dirt, now what the hell are we gonna do with all this? So I ain't gonna put any no crazy load on here. And it ain't very often I get to play with dirt and Tiny at the same time. Every once in a while, a couple times a year, I'll get to play with the bucket on the din, and oh my God, is it ever nice. You just got all the power you ever want in this machine with a 36-inch bucket. Oh my God, is it ever nice. I got to play with Dirt Perfect's Volvo the other day, digging a pond, well, draining a pond with Big Daddy up there at the Big Daddy farm. And it was nice. It's got real good controllable power. I didn't get any of it on video. I just took a couple pictures of it. Whenever I'm around Big Daddy and it's work, I don't like videoing. And it's not because I don't want to get Big Daddy on video. It's just because I'm just that into learning what he's doing. That's what this country needs. This country needs a lot more of old timers like Big Daddy and Real McCoy and Wayne Tharp and Jason Servance that knows something about something and needs younger people like my generation to shut up and just listen. That's how this country gets ahead. It ain't from out tearing buildings down and setting stuff on fire and beating the hell out of each other with hockey sticks. So, now that I've got a decent, look how good this dirt looks. It's got a lot of moisture in it. It's gonna pack good on that hill. It's almost classified as coal, it's so black. But I ain't got no crazy load on here because we don't know what we want to do yet. So let's take this up there to Big Daddy and see what he's got in mind. I'm kind of glad I didn't put no more dirt on there than I did. Boy, she is down in the motor hole right now. I guess that dirt's got a lot more moisture in it than what I was giving it some credit for. I can't even see the road because the hood's so daggone long. But you see all that sandy bare ground there? Used to have cattails and weeds and stuff growing on it. This is what we're gonna put the topsoil on. And we've had a couple good rains since we've been done back here. Other than Big Daddy's dozer tracks, there's not really been a lot of sediment that's actually come off of here, so this probably should work pretty daggone good. That channel there, loose sand and stuff, is probably 3 inches deep, which ain't bad. We've had a couple 3, 4, 5 inch rains after that Hurricane Lori come through. Probably don't need to have the stakes on there, but there ain't no sense of taking the stakes out just to haul a couple loads of dirt, because that's actually a creek crossing that we had put in, and then if you go another couple 100 yards, it's the same creek but it crosses it again, and it's got a bunch of wood down inside there, so I'll have to put the head back on. We'll have to get the cut up rack and go back to loading logs again after we get this done. But we want to get this end of the job finished and wrapped up today. No threatened rain coming for the next couple of days, but we just want to get it done. It's kind of the next step of the process. Big Daddy seems to be happy with the way the dirt's going. That dirt is heavy. Not really with the din-din, because the din-din's not taking such a big bite. But that load I had on Tiny a while ago, I had to put the diffie lock in to get up the hill. That is some heavy dirt. Of course, I don't get to drive Tiny very much, so it's hard to say if it feels like a load of logs or not. I mean, it really didn't on level ground, but you start to play around on a hill, makes you wonder. I hit that stake a while ago. Didn't hurt the stake and didn't hurt the bucket, but every once in a while I ain't paying attention and bang into them. Like that right there. I should have knew my tracks was gonna go that way, so I wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna scoot over a little bit, throwing dirt up into my tracks. Not a very good dirt operator. Something different. I just like doing stuff that's different. One minute you're cutting down a tree, next minute you're cutting up a tree. Next thing you know, you're running a skidder, driving a semi, running Tiny. I don't want nothing to do with the knuckle boom. Nothing. Everybody's like, well, you can probably run the knuckle boom, you run the din-din. No, don't want nothing to do with it. Controls is backwards. My swing on the din-din here is on a joystick. The swing on a knuckle boom is down on your feet, which I could probably get used to that over time. I just don't want nothing to do with it. I hate being stuck in one spot. I gotta be careful what I'm doing because that power line is right above my, it's not right, it's probably 30 feet above me, but it's still right there in the back of your mind. Dumping this dirt back here on the back, so whenever I go to dump it, it'll kind of trickle out like a rock truck. And load a dump while ago, it's just one great big glob. I couldn't get it to move. I think I had too much up towards the headboard. And then Tiny, the air brakes on it, you can't feather them like you can a rock truck. Tiny just dumps so much air out the brake chambers, it's unreal. I'm just trying to get the rest of this dirt cleaned up. It's way more than enough for what I'm fixing to dump. Just right on the other side of this hill. Big Daddy said I'm ahead of him, just take my time. That's why I got so much dirt. There was another pile sitting over there. I didn't know that it had shoved the two together till just now. I feel better sitting over here. I can see out the power line better. I couldn't hit that power line if I tried to. I just now realized this. The first low power line's on the other side of the power pole. I could stick my stick all the way up in the air and do circles and wouldn't hit the power line. Not that I want to try that. I'll put me a Let's Dig 18 load on there. Can't say Axeman load because Axeman don't mess with dirt, so it'll be a Let's Dig 18 load. Now I'm trying to keep it more towards the headboard, get a little weight on the front end. This dirt down here, I don't need no more. proceed. Well, Big Daddy, give me the go ahead.